hide your kids, lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's Presidential Joke Day. Chad, what's Michelle Obama's favorite vegetable?
I'm not going there. No.
Broccoli. Get it? Broccoli.
Okay, that was better.
Yeah, okay. You're listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. This is your co-host, Joel Oppenheimer Cheeseman.
And this is Chad Traveling Man Sowash.
And on this week's show, Jim slashes, Zip crashes, and WeWork, more like we bankrupt. Am I right? Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
Nailed the intro. Yes.
Broccoli. Okay, that was better than that's much better than the other paths that I thought you were going to go down. Ooh, vegetable presidents. Yeah. Ooh,
yeah. Oh, I didn't want to go too far back because I know our audience doesn't have that much historical perspective.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought I nailed it. I thought it was good. That was good entry to the show. Good intro.
I like it. Yes.
So traveling, man, you were in Portland?
I was in Vancouver, which is just north on the other side of the river, Portland, so Washington. Never been to Vancouver before. It's a pretty cool little town. I liked it, right? Riverside area, really, really cool.
Not Canada. There's a poser Vancouver in America, apparently.
I did get to see Tyler Weeks, though. There was a Tyler Weeks sighting and dinnering. So that was a good time.
Dinnering? There was a dinnering with Ty. Nice.
That's right. Oh,
nice. Yeah. Was he wearing his Chad and Cheese t-shirt? He's got the classic. he's got the OG t-shirts, which is cool.
I was going to say he does, but the one that he had not last year, but maybe it was last year, that he wore on stage was the new one with at the iSIMS event.
Yeah.
So he's got a compliment, probably a full complement of Chad and Cheese t-shirts.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Keynote stage with iSIMS. He's wearing a Chad and Cheese t-shirt. We haven't talked about the Barbenheimer phenom that is going on. Have you seen either of these movies? Do you have any?
No.
Any? So I've seen Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I liked it before I even went to it. Right? It's World War II. It's science. It's politics. It's all these things. So I won't ruin it for you. But I think I haven't seen Barbie yet. But Oppenheimer, I will definitely endorse. And I think there's a little bit of a work spin on Oppenheimer. Part of it is Oppenheimer builds this bomb. Hopefully I'm not, ruining it for everybody, but he builds this thing, bomb, and goes in the desert, and they build this thing. So he recruits these scientists, and he's got to retain these scientists. And so I think there's a little spin on, your workplace should have a mission statement that's bigger than yourself, right? And in this case, it was building a bomb to end the war. There's a scene in the movie where one of the scientists says, "Why should I get involved with this?" And Matt Damon's character, who's a general, says, "How about because it's the most important fucking thing in the history of the world?" So you got to have a mission as an employer. Number two, you got to be worker focused, Chad. And Oppenheimer built a city within the desert with a church, brought all the families out. They had holiday, drinks. And so he made sure that the workers were as happy as possible, which is no small feat when you're in the desert. And the third thing,
Yes.
hopefully not spoiling it, is diversity. There's a diversity play in the movie Oppenheimer.
Really?
Oppenheimer's talking to Matt Damon's character and basically says the Germans are 18 months ahead of us in building a bomb. And Matt Damon says basically, well, what chance do we have to catch up? And his reply is anti-Semitism, which was an interesting answer. And Matt Damon says, what do you mean? He says, well, Hitler thinks that the bomb and atoms, splitting atoms, is Jewish science, and he doesn't really focus on it or spend much time on it. So embracing diversity, had Hitler embraced diversity, we might all be speaking German. But because he was a racist son of a bitch, we are where we are today. So those three things I thought were nice work related. I wanted to highlight those for the show, Chad.
That's very nice. I'm going to roll right into shout outs because I'm going to talk about movies myself. Shout out to AI movies. This is from the MIT review, The Frost, which is a 12-minute movie in which every shot is generated by image making AI. Is one of the most impressive and bizarre examples of this strange new genre. Mm-hmm. Waymark made The Frost to explore how generative AI could be built into its products. Why? Because the company makes video creation tools for businesses looking for a fast and cheap way to make commercials. Go figure. Mm-hmm. My critique, it's unnatural. It was very creepy. It felt like a moving comic book, so it wasn't like fully animated, really. It was incredibly interesting. But then I watched the behind the scenes video. Yes, 12 minutes and then another additional 5 minutes for research is what it was. So that video really gave me some great insight on the world of prompt engineering. Mm-hmm. Will prompt engineering become the job of the future, or are we training the AI so that prompt engineering jobs might be gone within the 18 to 24 months? I mean, that was the question that I had after this. What do you think about that?
These are complicated questions, Chad.
60% of the time, it works.
60%.
Let me get this right. Basically, videos that can be created on the fly that are meant to look as real as possible in the future. Do I have that right?
Yes. Movie making through AI generation.
Totally where we're going, and that's why we have this whole actor strike and writer strike. Yeah. That's where the world's going. Like, people will be able to make movies without actors in the near future. Now, the big stars, we said, will still be okay, but they're eventually going to die as well. How many more Elvis movies can we make? I guess we're going to find out. But yeah, it's a weird future, and it's kind of a hit to creativity, I guess. If a few people are making these movies and there's not a lot of, I don't know, differentiation between one movie and the other. Anyway, that's my comment, is that I think it's the future. It's, pretty creepy. I agree.
What are you doing,
but it is the future, and it's a nice bookend to the show. So keep listening, kids. It might actually make sense even more so in the end. Well, I have a shout out too.
Shout out.
All right, let's go to the Forbes Cloud 100, Chad. Forbes' 8th annual Cloud 100 list is the world's best private cloud computing companies. That's per Forbes, by the way, not me.
Yes.
And some companies in our space were actually featured. These companies include at number 88 of the 100, Personio out of Germany. We talk about them quite a bit on the European show. Number 55, another European darling, HiBob, comes in at number 55. And 54, right behind them, is Rippling, who we talked about last week on the new ATS. Go check that out if you haven't. Number 38 is Deal. That's DEEL. Number 26, Gusto. And number 22, the highest rated company in our space in the Forbes Cloud 100 list is Checker. That's right. Number 22, Checker came in the highest. Shout out to all those Cloud 100 companies in our space.
Very nice. Very nice. My next shout out is to Mattel. And no, not for the Barbie movie, even though that was obviously generated a lot of cash. But Mattel says it is conducting a nationwide job search for a chief Uno player. The toy company is hiring someone to promote the release of their new game, Uno Quattro. the chief Uno player will make $4,444 a week. Get it? Quattro. For 4 weeks to play Uno Quattro with strangers in New York City and create social media content featuring the new game. Probably the best $17,776 Mattel will ever spend on marketing. So shout out to Mattel and Uno Quattro.
All right, shout out to Uno.
Shout
Uno
out.
Quattro. Little known fact, my 6-year-old loves playing Uno. Just throw that out there. All right, my shout out goes to CareerBuilder. What show wouldn't be complete without CareerBuilder? So I got hit up on LinkedIn, and somewhere in between the 382 automated messages about congrats on my new job, this person who will remain anonymous commented the following, quote, "Thought you might get a kick out of this crap. We have been a client since 2004. Just keep that in mind. Think they have outsourced their sales reps since all of their other reps have apparently been laid off, and it seems like a recorded, canned message. Yes, it has come to this. CareerBuilder has no one left to turn off the lights," end quote. And here is that outbound sales call. Enjoy.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sunny. I am calling from CareerBuilder job site. I was calling to connect with you, see if you would be interested in using CareerBuilder for your staffing needs. If you do, please call me on my direct line, which is 773-389-7523. Repeat it, Sunny with CareerBuilder at 773-389-7523. Thank you.
Scripted much?
The warmth I got from that script. Jesus. that Sunny read.
Sunny.
That was lovely. CareerBuilder, it's been fun, man. Keep on giving that content gift every week.
Jeff Furman, all by himself. Who knows what the hell he's doing in that big leather chair right now?
Well, if you've been laid off by CareerBuilder, and a lot of you out there have, you might appreciate some free shit. Yeah, free shit from Chad and Cheese. Head out to chadcheese.com, click the free link. We're talking free T-shirts from our friends at JobGet, free beer from Aspen Tech Labs, and, geez, free bourbon. How can it get better than that from the folks at Text Kernel? And by the way, everybody wants to get out. The pandemic's over. Our friends at Abode are giving away a $250 gift card to Airbnb. Go wherever the hell you want in style, thanks to our friends at Abode.
Dude, wouldn't happen to have birthdays, would you?
Oh, it's funny you should ask.
Oh.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now?
By the way, this week is an extra cheese edition of the birthdays. That's right. All right, another year around the sun for a lot of our listeners, starting with Kevin Kirkpatrick. Then we have Bill Peterson, Peter Simandl, Andrew Highland, Patrick Morgan, Jason Putnam, Jason Seiden, Johnny Campbell, Carmen Hudson, Peter Clayton. What happened to that guy? Is he still around doing? He was the original podcaster guy. All right. Yeah. And last on our list, but number one in our hearts, Abby Cheeseman celebrates a birthday. Yay! No relation to me, although she is married to a burly, bearded man, much like yours truly. So maybe there is some sort of a loose connection there. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Now it's time for events. Powered by Shaker Recruitment Marketing, kids. That's right. You see it. We are going to RecFest on September 13th in Nashville, where we are taking the Disrupt stage all day to talk about recruiting and technology. And we're doing it with special guests, Lynn and Tracy from the Talent Rebelcast podcast, and Canadians, Serge and Shelley from the Recruitment Flex podcast. So got to get there, guys. It's the first time RecFest in the U.S. It's in Nashville. Then we're going to be virtual. We haven't done one of these in a while, Cheeseman. GEM's 2023 Virtual Talent Summit is happening on September 20th, where you and I will be joined by EEOC Commissioner Sonderling, NYU Professor PhD Mona Sloan, and Bree Bastidas, Head of Technical Talent at Scale AI. We're going to be talking about AI's ability to unlock recruiting efficiencies, the trials, tribulations, and reasons why or why not the recruitment community should embrace AI. Then, oh my God, HR Tech and Mandalay Bay in October. That's in Vegas. When the expo hall opens, kids, we are going to be spending 2 days in the Fuel 50 booth. And we like to really extend our appreciation to Fuel 50 for allowing us to crash there while we drink, eat, probably make a mess, do some interviews, and enjoy the HR Tech show. So if you are going to be at HR Tech, come see Chad and Cheese at the Fuel 50 booth. Then a few days later, Jesus, going to be on a flight to Paris, which I love. One of the staples in our industry, Unleash World in Paris. Have no clue what we're doing there yet, but we're going to be there. I'm sure there'll be interviews. There'll be VIP parties, all that other fun stuff. For all of these events, one place you need to go, chadcheese.com/events, or just go to the website, click on events in the upper right-hand corner and register.
All right.
Chad, word has it, this is a rumor. Cardboard Chad may make it at least one appearance. At least one appearance in one of those shows. We'll just have to wait and see.
Topics!
Oh boy, we haven't done one of these in a while. That's right, layoffs. Oh boy, layoffs are back on the podcast. Here we go. Goopy, South American company, laid off 8% of its workforce. That totals 58 people, better up 16% or 100 people. And Jim, who you mentioned in our shout-outs, the CEO stated that 70 employees out of the 356 listed on LinkedIn were laid off. But Lisa Schiller, a senior solutions consultant at Jim, said the layoffs affected 40%. So the math is a little bit fuzzy on this one. We don't have a confirmation on what percentage 70 is, but that's bad news for a unicorn that has raised upwards of $100 million. Chad, any takeaways from the layoffs from this week?
Yeah, reconfiguration, kids. That's what's going to continue to happen. Then again, we're going to see more M&A, more fire sales. Not saying that these guys are up for sale or anything like that, but there's just a lot of turbulence in the market right now. And that happens when you're flush with fucking cash for years. So this is something that was going to happen. We saw it was going to happen. And is I don't want to say normal, but unfortunately, when you have the big highs, you're going to we're not really on a big low, but we're definitely feeling the ramifications or the repercussions for all that money.
Yeah, if you can have a hangover from a pandemic, I'm not sure that you can, but this is sort of maybe the canary in the coal mine. We got a lot of unicorns from 2020 to 2022. These guys are one. If the deals, the remotes, the oysters, if they start talking about 40% chops in headcount, this is definitely a phase that is going to be ugly. And HR Tech may be a little smaller in booth size than last year. You might remember Eightfold's 760 by 800 booth that they had last year. But yeah, times are tough. Money's not free anymore. These valuations are going to hell. Employees are getting cut. And just for me personally, I've probably know about 5 or 6 people in the last week in our industry that have either left or been cut, been fired. So
most of them pretty senior.
It's hitting people that I know personally. So yeah, it's tough out there. But not as tough as things are at ZipRecruiter, Chad. Oh, shit. Let's get into our first story here. ZipRecruiter experienced significant drops in Q2 to 23 revenue and paying advertisers, attributing the decline in their stock price to reduced hiring despite a strong U.S. job market. The company withdrew its previous full-year earnings guidance due to uncertain hiring trends, leading to a 10% share price drop. The company expects a 34% decline in revenue and projects adjusted EBITDA of around $40 million for the upcoming quarter. Chad, your take on the news out of ZipRecruiter.
So I have three major problems with what ZipRecruiter's been doing. So first and foremost, market penetration and expansion. Zip's inability to fully break into the enterprise market and then expand wallet share is a huge problem. Zip has been wallowing in the SMB market for far too long. Problem number two, they're being too fucking quiet. On their press page, there are only two press releases for 2023. We're in August. Two press releases. They're too quiet. Problem number three, it's the same old shit. When was the last time ZipRecruiter did anything to nudge the market with product? Can you remember when Zip upgraded, changed, or even introduced a new product for hiring companies?
I mean,
no.
their chatbot Phil was so big. I feel like they could just coast for about a year on that one.
Again, that was a product for job seekers, not for employers that employers had to buy. So here's a quick summary. Live by the job posting, die by the job posting. If all of Zip's eggs are in the job posting basket, how are they supposed to gain wallet share? Indeed is launching some really stupid shit, but hell, at least they're trying. So to me, it doesn't feel like Zip is even trying anymore. It's like they're laying down and they're ready to die.
Oh, man. That's what happens when you have a headquarters in Santa Monica. The lure of the beach and the cool breeze just takes your eye off the ball. Yeah, look, a couple things to say on this. Every public company pretty much in our space right now is sideways or in the shitter. Zip is there. Dice is there. Sorry to our European listeners who know neither of those companies, but you can go down to like Robert Half. You can go to Recruit Holdings. Veritone, who we talk about a lot, getting in the space, their stock took a huge hit this past week. It wasn't necessarily the HR stuff, but people are hurting from a stock value percentage or stock value perspective in our industry. And if the stock market is a leading indicator of what the economy is going to do, so last October, about a year ago, the stock market took a shit. That was a leading indicator on what the economy was going to do. Well, the economy's job labor reports have been really strong, which has kind of helped keep things up. The Fed, as we know, continues to raise rates. They want to get unemployment up. They want to cool the economy, get inflation down. So from what I can tell, like, people are still employed, but these reports and what's coming out of the public companies in our space tell me that there's another canary in the coal mine, is that companies aren't posting jobs. So they may not be firing, they may not be laying off a lot of people, but they certainly don't look like they're hiring or replacing people that have left. So to me, this is a really bad sign in terms of the economy and what's going on. Now, it might be a good thing in terms of the Fed will get their unemployment rate, inflation will come down, interest rates will come down, and that will obviously spark another phase of investment and money coming into the space. But I think this is a pretty glowing sign that things are going to get pretty rocky towards the end of the year in terms of employment. We're going to see that employment rate go up. That is a prediction, Chad, and you know what they say about my predictions.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Now, focusing on Zip for a second, ZipRecruiter had a lock on the seasonal hourly segment. Mm-hmm. And when they went public, they decided that they were going to be everything to everybody. They were going to be AI, they were going to be enterprise, they were going to be global. None of those things have come to pass. They launched this crazy chatbot Phil. So like, there was a time where if you wanted a job at a restaurant, you wanted a job at a convenience store, a dry cleaner, like, you went to ZipRecruiter because you saw the commercials, it was small business, it was like that segment of the population. They had a lock on that brand and they chucked it. They threw it down the toilet and said, we're going to be everything to everybody. We're AI, we're everything. Well, job seekers are now confused because, wait a minute, ZipRecruiter used to be this place where I could get like a wait job, a waiter job. And then employers are confused because the bar owner down the street is like, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. So total confusion in the marketplace. They're nothing to nobody. Indeed is now taking their market share in terms of the SMBs. They launched their own ATS. So I think they're trying to get in that space. ZipRecruiter is in this no man's land where they had a lock on one brand. They threw that away. They can't be the enterprise thing. They should have just remained the hourly, seasonal, essential worker and grown that globally. They should have spent all their time like, we're going to be that, and we're going to be ZipRecruiter that in the UK, in Germany, in France, et cetera, and rolled out that model to the entire globe. And I think we'd have a much different conversation about Zip. But they made a tremendous brand mistake, not on the level of Elon chucking Twitter for X, but in the same vein, they took what they were in the market, tried to be something else, and I think they've totally failed. And I think the stock price exemplifies that.
So I think you're right in some areas. I mean, they didn't have to. They could have been SMB and enterprise at the same time. It's all about scale because there are enterprise companies that have essential workers. As a matter of fact, that should have been where they went. If we take a look at anybody who's doing high volume today, they're focusing not just on SMBs, they're mainly moving up to the enterprise side of the house. So they had an opportunity to stay who they were, right? In the high volume, in the essential worker side of the house, work for SMBs and work for enterprise. This to me is a huge issue with regard to execution, right? Execution number one. The AI piece, that was all about how the tech worked. That to me really doesn't have anything to do with anything other than just the rails that they're running on. The problem is they didn't get good enough penetration into the enterprise market where they can sell more goods and services, right? That's really where they needed to be. They could have done source and screen. There could have been a ton of different things that they could have done. But it just seems like they, as you'd said, they're kind of all over the place. They could have laser focused and then built that brand even into enterprise, but they just didn't do it. So they're failing miserably, which is hard to see, to be quite frank.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go deep here for a second.
Just the tip.
So let's go way back in time, kids. So I used to work for a company called eSpan. In the late 90s, eSpan was known as the developers job board. It was techies before techies. It was dice before dice. Our competition was OCC, where Chad worked, Monster Board, Career Mosaic, and some others. But they were more general in nature. We were like tech, and we had a great brand with tech companies. We had a great brand with tech talent.
Yeah.
And then Gordon Gund and NAS came in and said, we're going to change the brand. We're going to be everything to everybody. eSpan is gone. We're job options. We're everything to everybody. And we didn't have a big enough gun to take on Monster Board and some of the Super Bowl ads that were there at the time. And job seekers abandoned us because we didn't obviously care about them anymore. We had sales jobs now. We had, marketing jobs. So they kind of left and went other places. Companies that were tech that loved us and used us, well, the talent wasn't there anymore. They were confused about why we were doing it. They held us to a higher standard because now they're putting on their accounting jobs and everything, which we didn't do. So they weren't getting results there. It was a total mess. And, long story short, a couple years later, we sold for pennies on the dollar, and I'm unemployed a year after that as a mass layoff at the company. So I speak from some experience that pivoting in that way really fucks shit up. And I think ZipRecruiter in some manner has done a similar pivot that has been probably a disaster for them.
Much like
another disaster. That's right. Let's have some more tales of misery, shall we?
No, God, please, no.
I know. All right. So first up, say it ain't so. After mass layoffs in the first half of 2023, Zoom makes jaws drop by requiring employees within 50 miles of an office to work in person for at least 2 days a week, marking a shift from previous flexibility. Imagine that, Zoom flexible. Yeah, everybody was on Zoom calls back during the pandemic. Chad,
yeah.
Your take on Zoom's RTO announcement?
So, holy irony, right? I think I actually saw a article last week where they were talking about companies actually going back to the office to be able to downsize instead of lay off. Right. So if you're forcing people back in and people want the autonomy, well, they're going to leave. Mm-hmm. So instead of laying off and then having severance and all that other fun stuff, then you don't have to do that as much. So I think this might be one of the reasons why Zoom is doing it. They want to pare down, but they don't want to lay off because you've got the bad optics and whatnot. Not that this isn't bad optics, but how many examples have we had or heard of employees going back to the office just to be on Zoom calls?
Alone in an office on Zoom calls.
Yeah. But I want to address, an item that we've heard pop up in the press and on webinars and economic circles that that item is productivity loss and associating it with remote work. Worker autonomy is not the reason companies are losing productivity. Let me say that again. Worker autonomy is not the reason why companies are losing productivity. Bad management, which leads to workers quitting. That churn leaves open positions. Those open positions represent lost productivity and lost revenue. The remaining team members cover the open positions, the daily workloads. They are spread too thin for months on end. And after those workers have had enough, that they leave, which exacerbates the problem. So if we treat workers like kids, they're going to leave, and then the cycle starts. This is bad management. This is not treating your employees well, which makes them want to leave, and productivity takes a shit. Has nothing to do with remote work.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Zoom is making employees come back to the office. Like, the last company that should require people to come back is Zoom. And they're making people come back to the office. I mean, to me, this is like a major nail in the coffin of remote work. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but long term, you're right. This is the boiling of the frog. This is 50 miles? Really? That's a distance. It had been like 30. Now it's almost double to 50 for most companies. So yeah, it's like it's a way to lay off people. Very convenient that they don't want. It will eventually become 4 days a week, and maybe 4 is all it comes down to. But what's going to happen is people that do come back to the office, they're going to get promoted. They're going to be having, happy hour with other coworkers, and you're going to feel like guilty that you're not there. People will be there more often, and eventually companies will get what they want, like they always do. They'll get people back in the office. It's basically like the 80-20 rule, like everything else. There will be some startups, some companies that do have 100% remote, but for the most part, like, our dreams of a remote workforce have been dashed by the man.
I think that the days of the way that we were raised as Xers by boomers, we were made to feel guilty if we weren't in early and we didn't leave after, right? These new generations are not that way. So I think that they're not going to feel guilty. And if they don't get promoted, but yet they're living the lifestyle that they want to live, they won't give a fuck. I think there's a major change in the give a fuck. And there just isn't much of a give a fuck anymore, which I think is great because people need to live their fucking lives instead of sit in a goddamn cubicle all day or on the train trying to fucking commute.
Yeah. I think the jury's out on some of that with young people. I have seen surveys like some young people that live in a studio apartment want to get into an office. Now, is it a cubicle or is it like an open space, whatever? But some young people, young people want to get out. They want to hang out with other young people after work. They want to like be mentored by old people like us. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, Zoom is out of the remote work business. It's very sad. Well, from one former pandemic darling to another, let's go to WeWork. WeWork's second quarter earnings report costs, quote, substantial doubt on its survival due to losses and departing clients. Despite plans to enhance liquidity and profitability, the co-working giant stock plummeted almost 40% this week, underscoring its tumultuous journey from high valuation to potential collapse. Chad, WeWork to WeOuttabiz. Your take.
how is WeWork not fucking killing the game right now? I mean, all of this real estate that's open, WeWork should actually take the position as the middle ground by driving hybrid and more flexible options for work. They just need to get into some big brands involved from a national and also global scale. To me, this is a go-to-market issue where they're not really seeing the forest for the trees. This, to me, just blows my fucking brain. If they were going to work, it should work right now. If it's not working right now, they just need to fucking eject quickly.
Yeah. It's kind of like a trucking company that goes out of business when trucking is like more popular than ever. Huh. Who did we talk about? Yellow trucking. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, I get that they sign leases on these properties, but commercial real estate owners were more than flexible to like keep you in the office, keep you in the space, keep you occupied. This is either like awful management, just like you said, go to market. I mean, somebody should have called Airbnb and said, "Hey, let's do like a work Airbnb collaboration.
Something.
You can or Verbo. There had to be some sort of platform that they could get in there." I don't know if this was the weight of just the business and the expectations, the investment money, but this is a total disaster. You're right. This is like, if anybody should be successful right now, it's the WeWorks of the world.
Yeah.
But here we are talking about their demise, and somebody will pick this up on pennies on the dollar, and hopefully bring in some good management, some cost efficiencies, and launch this thing back. And it I don't know, rises from the inferno like the phoenix, but only time will tell what happens there. Let's take a quick break and talk about CHIPS, not the Southern California police force from the 70s.
This would be a great place for that opening intro for Chips.
Yeah, that would be.
Eric Estrada.
Remember the takeoff chimps? They made a joke, and the chimpanzees were on the motorcycle. Anyway, all right, all right. Let's talk about chips. A labor shortage is slowing U.S. semiconductor companies' efforts to fill critical positions, with hiring taking twice as long as in other sectors. The industry's struggle to find skilled labor could hinder President Biden's push to boost the domestic chip industry and create jobs, with projections of 115,000 new jobs by 2030. The sector faces challenges in finding candidates with science, technology, and engineering backgrounds. Wait, government didn't think this through? I'm shocked. Chad, what are your thoughts on a lack of talent in the chip sector in the U.S.?
Is it the government's responsibility to make sure that we have all those people ready for those jobs? It sounds like big government you're looking for. Here's an excerpt from the Fortune article that just stuck with me. So chip makers have long sounded the alarm. U.S. doesn't have enough job candidates, right?
Yep.
So my brain automatically went to high school sports. Some of the biggest sports brands like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and others, they equip high schools and athletes with uniforms, cleats. They buy scoreboards, sometimes outfit the entire court, field, or stadium. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't companies like Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, and many others equipping middle schools, high school classrooms, and labs? Why aren't they deep inside of communities, schools, community colleges, selling the dream of engineering? Why aren't they doing this? This is not a government problem. These companies need to be focused on what they need to make and drive revenue. Why aren't they fucking doing this?
They should be doing it and should have been doing it. The problem is we have a challenge now We have a China problem now. We have like global economic issues today. And we should have been thinking about this 20 years ago, 10 years ago at least. Obviously, nobody was. Now, Taiwan, as most people know, is the breadbasket of the semiconductor chip business. Yep. And companies are actually relocating Taiwanese workers into Montana and North Dakota and some of these other places where these chip factories are being established. So we've got to go poach from other countries. Longer term, we should definitely be talking about stability in this industry. Colleges should be pounding the table. There should be some maybe subsidies for people who get these degrees, or at least instant jobs by companies saying, hey, go get this degree and do that. Now, what we've additionally done, I don't know if you caught this or not, this past week, the Biden administration announced a $345 million weapons package to go to Taiwan, the first tranche in a total of $1 billion the U.S. has allotted to be transferred directly from the Pentagon stockpiles to the island this year. So the reaction to not having enough talent is also, let's arm up Taiwan to make sure that Taiwan remains a stable supplier of chips in the near future. Because if China takes the real estate, then it's game over. So let's ship some weapons and let's fortify Taiwan. So hopefully long term, we're thinking about the talent to do these jobs in the future. But for now, it looks like let's poach from Taiwan and other places, and let's fortify Taiwan to keep China at bay.
So Intel said they're going to spend $17.7 million in Ohio, which is where one of these manufacturing facilities are going. Intel's revenue is $63 billion a year. So that's 0.03% of Intel's annual revenues. That's not an investment. That's fucking crumbs. Talent is the only thing that will make those revenue numbers grow, and talent acquisition. Listen up, TA pros. You need to stiffen your fucking spine. See this as an opportunity to talk about driving revenue through building real talent pipelines and not bullshit photo ops. That's what this is. They're pledging like $1 million to like 15 different universities in Ohio. It's fucking photo op. That's crumbs. That's not enough. You need to have an investment, and you need to get into those communities ASAP. Yep. Not to mention TA folk, it's taking forever for people to get through your application process. I remember talking to a Lynn Bailey when she was at Intel, and she was like, well, a part of it was funding. You have to streamline your process with the market, right? They don't have the cash. You need to go back to the business with your need and show them that if we don't get these positions filled, we're not going to make the cash.
By the way, the stories about fraud and misuse of funds that the government is giving these companies is just starting. It's just kind of a bummer. All right, Chad, AI is still in the news. Imagine that. We got a lot of headlines. I'm going to read through some of them, and you're going to give me your take on what stood out to you the most. Let's start with TechCrunch, writing an article entitled "The Future of AI is Video, and It's Coming at Us Fast." The story outlined what a mess the 2024 election is going to be. HR Executive Magazine wrote a story entitled 7 AI Considerations HR Leaders Need to Think About Today, featuring Chad and Cheese superfan Andrea Wade, enforcing the importance of humans being in the process. Hacker News says Zoom's AI can now train its AI with user content, but you can't opt out of the process. Sorry about that. Reuters asks whether AI will be a blessing or a curse for the economy. People are beating the shit and molesting UberEats automated food delivery bots. And here's Chad's favorite. Elon Musk now owns AI.com. Chad, what stood out most to you this week in AI news?
So when Domino's, I think, were the first companies that actually said they're going to have these AI delivery bots. I called it back then. I think it was even Walmart with the ones that were in the aisles.
The janitors.
That people were going to start taking fucking ball bats to these things. They're going to flip them over. They're going to do whatever they could to fuck with these things. Now we're seeing that's exactly what's happening. Whether they like AI, robots or not, doesn't matter. People are fucking stupid, just the way it is. One of the really cool, I'm going to paraphrase, items in one of the articles is that they likened AI to dynamite. And dynamite is either used to blow a hole in a mountain to create streamlined infrastructure or as a weapon. But there are regulations around dynamite, right? And there's not regulations around AI.
You can't download it on your computer.
Yeah, and the biggest issue here that I see is shareholder capitalism. Its focus is completely on reward and not risks. It's a move fast, generate revenue, and break society model. The internet was created by the US government with our tax dollars, and yet companies like Amazon, who leverage the internet with e-commerce sales and AWS, skirt taxes. Create billionaires like Jeff Bezos who build super yachts and launch penis rockets, but they're not building a strong middle class and paying it back with crumbling infrastructure and super yachts. So our biggest issue that we're having right now is that we are not moving fast enough on the regulatory side of the house to ensure that we have the guardrails in place. But we need to move, but we can't allow, let's say, for instance, a 6-month pause to happen. We just can't do that. We can't allow other countries to get ahead of us. So we need guardrails. We need them quick. The Elon Musk thing, this to me is the funniest thing ever. I believe we're experiencing one of the most public ADHD moments in world history as we watch Elon Musk play with Twitter, now X, get into generative AI game, propose dick measuring contests with Zuck, and then getting fined by federal government for not complying with federal subpoenas. He is all over the place. Probably one of the smartest guys in the world today, right? Hate him, but he is all over the place. This is a squirrel moment for Elon Musk.
That escalated quickly.
All right, we didn't have this in the notes, but the Octagon Zuckerberg versus Musk fight on X, like, would you watch that for free?
Oh, well, yeah, definitely would. Because I would love
At what price point would you pay to see it live?
Oh, I would. It would be free somewhere. I'd be able to get it somewhere.
I hope
I'm not
this
paying
happens.
because those assholes would make money off of it, and I'm not paying them.
Oh, well, they said it's going to charity for veterans. No,
fuck them.
I mean, that is to me
shit.
that if that happens, that is peak douchebag for tech. That is like it's only downhill from here. So I'm glad you brought up Zuckerberg because I had forgotten about the Octagon match. Oh my god, dude, these poor UberEats. I call them like mobile coolers.
Oh God.
Thank God for TikTok. I've talked like for an end to TikTok, but this makes TikTok worthwhile. What the homeless and just the riffraff and knuckleheads are doing to these coolers is almost pornographic. Like how these are built is, I guess it's closed and you have a QR code or something with your phone, and then you can open it and get your sandwich and like you're done. Well, people are like, fuck it, I'm hungry. They like open the thing, this alarm goes off, which nobody cares about. It's like, whoop, whoop. And they're like eating the sandwich while the alarm is going off. People are like riding these things in the streets. I don't know how they're steering them, but it's so bizarre. I don't know what the future is of these things. I don't know if it's just like it's going to be only in really high rent districts where people aren't going to do stuff. Are they going to criminalize this where, face recognition, they turn you into the cop? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I like the idea of my Chipotle rolling up on the driveway, but I don't know if there's a future for these like mobile coolers of food. I think the TechCrunch article about video and the campaign is even scarier than when I first commented about this a week or so ago.
Creepy as fuck.
What we're going to see out of like deep fakes of Putin and Xi and overseas and what's in the election, like one's going to know what's real, what's fake. There's no government regulation anywhere. There's no like tech guardrails that I see anywhere. It's going to be the Wild West this election, and God help us if like democracy breaks and we fall into the abyss. Because if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen in 2024. The 7 considerations of HR leaders shows me like HR knows nothing about what's coming. Like it was sort of like an SEO article from 2005 about like how to write a title tag, and that was going to save your website. So anyway, this show's been a total bummer, and this didn't help it at all for the most part. AI is crazy, people are crazy, and mixing the two together is a recipe for disaster. I need to take a break. Oh, you got a butt?
Yes.
Okay.
After the break, we've got something that's going to be even more creepy, but fun.
What are you doing, step bro?
All right, Chad. I don't know if this is good news or bad news. You decide, listener. All right. Mila, or is it Mila? We'll call her Mila. Mila Sophia says she's a 24-year-old robot girl living in Helsinki, but she's actually an AI-generated influencer with a substantial following on Twitter and TikTok. She has almost 60,000 followers on Instagram, despite being entirely virtual or fake. Her photos attract likes and admiration from thousands, tens of thousands of fans, oblivious to her non-existence. She posts pictures portraying various roles, from a bikini-clad model to, get this, a construction worker. Her digital existence raises so many questions for me, Chad. What do you got on Mila Sophia?
Yeah, it's interesting that, nerdy white dudes are creating, hot chicks on the internet and making money off them. Mm-hmm. We've totally come full circle on this podcast. We started off with talking about AI-generated movies. All I can say is it's surreal. In 1855, P.T. Markham said, there's a sucker born every minute. And with AI and deepfakes and clones, it's going to be very hard to distinguish between all of us who are the suckers and who aren't.
So, Chad, you and I have been debating an Instagram presence for a while. I think this is our shot. I think we do a virtual Chad and Cheese. Maybe we're horseback, on Sunset on the beach. Maybe we're in shop class or doing some crafts at Hobby Lobby.
Do the ghost molding of the clay.
It's totally open. We can do whatever the hell we want. So one of my favorite movies, particularly from the 80s, is Risky Business.
Yes.
And in Risky Business, Tom Cruise's friend, Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, but that's a different movie. Chad knows what I'm talking about. Most of our listeners probably do too. Booger gets him a hooker that wasn't what Tom expected. Let's put it that way. So the hooker that shows up realizes that Tom isn't into her. So she gives him the name of a woman named Lana, and her quote is, "I'm going to give you a number, Joel." That's one of the reasons why it's my favorite movie. His character's name is Joel. But anyway, she says, "Joel, I want you to call Lana. It's what you want. It's what every white boy off the lake wants," which is one of the great lines of 80s movie nostalgia. So here's my takeaway from this. OnlyFans is done. Not tomorrow, not next week, but eventually. Digital girls are starting to look like the real thing. They're starting to talk like the real thing. And with the right apparatus, Chad, they will do everything every dude on the planet wants, just like Lana. It'll be a subscription model for all the kinky, freaky, illegal in 28 states shit that all of our demented listeners want in a woman. Even if it's not real. We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know, and yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar, blue, nacho, pepper jack, Swiss. So many cheeses, and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chatcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!